my therapist said to me, you're just rushing so much through life that you're just missing all the great things that are happening in your life. Some of you know me, some of you don't, but I basically moved to London at 23. God, Jesus was for me. Like, he literally helped me see the light, helped me walk the path. Everything that happened, it has a purpose. Be aware of the amazing, magical things that are happening around you. The mold that you was created when you were like a child, you need to break that, because that's the only way you will work towards achieving your dream life, and you will achieve your dream life. Take risks. Like, when I came to London with nothing, a lot of people back home and a lot of people were just saying to me like, but Jenny, you need a job. What are you going to do for work? It's like, well, this is my work. This is my job. Like, do not let people tell you can just not do something, because they're just projecting their own inabilities to achieve their dreams onto you. Well, if you know who you are at your core, you will achieve anything in life. And I feel like that's what I want to leave you with in this episode. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of House of Impact Podcast. Before we go into the episode, I just have one thing to ask you, which is, if you're enjoying the show, please hit the subscribe button so we can keep bringing you bigger, better guests, keep the show going. Let's roll with the episode. Hello guys, it's your host Jenny Core, and this is House of Impact Podcast. Welcome. We made it to 2025. This is the first episode that I'm recording of the year, and honestly, I cannot wait. 2024 was a brutal year, and for those of you that are new here and this is the first episode, this is basically the podcast that I created when I was in such a low in my life, the lowest I've ever been. I was in so much pain that I was trying to find a way out, and I just couldn't. So I just had to find a way through, and that was the podcast for me. This podcast really changed and saved my life, literally. So basically, I decided to create the podcast when I was at my lowest. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was going to do next with my career. I was doing business coaching for the past 5 years and consulting, and that was no longer what I wanted to do. And I knew that podcasting was always my dream. This is literally my passion. And I just sat down with 10 people at a time, and I was able to move forward and to start healing by just listening to their stories, their glories, and knowing that it's possible to make a change. And that's when I created House of Impact Podcast, to help you heal and achieve your dream life. And in this first episode of the year, I want to go through 7 ways that you can change your life and achieve your dream life in 2025. Before I dive into the episode, I kind of want to give a little bit of context on this, because some of you know me, some of you don't, but I basically moved to London at 23. I started my business here. I then grew to 6 figures. I had my high-rise apartment in London. I was traveling, like, I was all over the place. It was like my best life. And then a year later, things looked very different. I came back from Bali. I was heartbroken. I left my relationship, and I also burned my business to the ground, and I was literally homeless, heartbroken, and broke. So not a good combination, not something I would even wish to my worst enemy. But that's when I really could feel the presence of God in my life. And I don't know if you're religious, if you're, even if you're not religious, there's always, you need to trust and believe that there's something bigger out there. So Jesus was for me. Like, he literally helped me see the light, helped me walk the path. And And that's why I'm here today, because I know some of you are struggling. Some of you might have left a relationship very recently and you are just questioning yourself. Some of you are kind of trying to make a change in your career, kind of start business or get into a new career path and don't know exactly what you're doing, which is completely fine. So I figure the best way for me to help shed some light on this is to literally bring you 7 ways that you can do today, starting today, to achieve the life of your freaking dreams in 2025. All of this I've done myself for the past 5 years. It's everything that I've been learning and using, from moving from a small town in Spain to a big city in London with nothing but a dream. So let's start with the first one. The first one is one that I am still learning, but it really has helped me. And it's about going through life with readiness instead of rushing. So stop rushing and start being ready. Why do I say this? Because when we rush through life, we rush through the process. We kind of try to make it faster, try to get there faster. And we're just going through life rushing. We're just not even appreciating the process, the journey, the lessons that we're learning across, like on the path. And it's not about you rushing. You're not going to get there by rushing and going, like, sometimes you will just miss a lot of opportunities and a lot of great things just because you're rushing. But something I've learned, and I've actually learned this from Pastor Jonathan, which will be here on the podcast this year, is to go through life ready. Stop rushing and start being ready. Because when you go through life ready, you can really spot opportunities faster, and you have a lot more discernment when you are ready for what life has to bring you. And that's something I've learned the very hard way last year, and for my whole life, I've always been rushing. I've always been like in this survival mode of like, I need to make things happen because I don't have time. And that might come from my childhood, from being adopted, for kind of like always feeling like I have a very fast clock in me that I need to just get things done, or else like there's no time. And it's not about that. It's about being ready for all the opportunities, being ready for anything that life has to throw at you. And if you go through life ready, you will also slowly start seeing how you're appreciating things that you were not appreciating before, just because you were rushing. You were just not seeing the good things of life, and you were just missing out on a lot of things. And this will also allow you to not just be like more aware of what's going on, but it will allow you to start regulating your nervous system, because you will just give it a bit more stillness and a bit more peace, which you need to be able to spot opportunities, to be able to create your dream life, how you envision yourself. And that's not going to happen by you rushing. I can tell you that. And this will bring me to the second point, which is to be aware of the amazing, magical things that are happening around you. And how do you achieve this? By being still. And by being still, I want to make this really clear. By being still, I don't mean just doing your vision board, writing your affirmations, and just sitting here and just be still and just waiting for things to happen. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that or at least myself, when we go through life as if we don't have time and everything's going to die out tomorrow, which we never know what's going to happen in life. But when we go through life like that, we are not thriving, we're surviving. We're kind of trying to see if we can make it to another day. And it's so important to just stop and be still, because then you will just not miss the great and good things that life has to bring you. And I will always remember this. Like, my therapist said to me, you're just rushing so much through life that you're just missing all the great things that are happening in your life. And that's why you tend to be more depressed, you tend to be more unfulfilled and happy with where you're at, because you're just rushing and you're just missing out on all the amazing things that are happening to you. And that was what happened to me. Like, when I was so depressed. That was when September. I was so depressed. I was in such a low, because I was like, man, I've been rushing through life to just get through this milestone, get through these goals. And now I have to be still. I have to pause. I have to reflect. I have to face my hurt, my demons. I have to literally, what it says in the Bible, be still. And that for me was a huge thing. I didn't even know how to do it. But my therapist, she gave me this exercise of what about if you slow down and you take more of an analysis of what's happening around you, and you will see how not everything that's happening around you is bad. And 5 months, 4 months later, I can actually see that what she said was true. So I feel like this is something that I want you guys to do. Just don't go through life rushing, and just pause and be aware of all the magical things that are happening around you. Because even if you are going through a tough time right now, and I know how it feels to be in the very depths of the ocean where you just cannot see the way through, just pause and be still and look at the things around you. Because that's the only way that you will actually enjoy where you're at. Even if it doesn't feel like you're moving forward, just going backwards, just enjoy for a second, pause for a second, and see where you're at, and see that everything has purpose. All the pain, all the heartbreak, all the businesses failed, or all the career path, everything that happened, it has a purpose to bring you into a better and higher version of yourself. Which brings me to my second point. And yeah, I do have a list on my phone, which I usually don't, but I want to make sure that I'm just not missing anything. This one is a big one. Say no to what doesn't serve you. And this is all about setting boundaries and having some self-worth and self-respect for yourself. But it's not just saying no now. It's saying no to things that will not serve you 3 to 6 months down the line. Why do I say this? Because especially for me, last year and throughout my whole life, I've been a massive people pleaser. I always put people first and then me second. And I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just putting myself first, my mission, my vision, God. That's what I'm doing. But that also requires to say no to things that will not serve me. And I see people talking about this concept and also saying this, but what I want to add and what I want to say, and something that has served me so well, and I had to learn that the very hard way last year, was to say no also for the longer term things. I would say yes to a lot of projects when I was doing business consulting, and because I was like, oh, this is going to be a great project. This is going to open doors. This is going to make me more money. This is going to, whatever. And I spread myself so thin that I just completely lost myself. I literally was running around like a headless chicken, and I was drifting further away from my goals and further away from doing this podcast. So now I say no to a lot of things. I actually am sacrificing a lot of things, and I'm willing to say no to things that it could have probably been good opportunities, but it's for a greater good. So whenever you say no to something, make sure that, first of all, you have a plan, you know who you are and your core values, and you know where you're going. Because when I was saying yes to everything, that was also a coping mechanism for me to put a bit of a blurry vision on my own vision, which is a way of self-sabotage. And I just had to stop and be like, okay, let me just pause for a second, recalibrate, and see what's going to serve me and what's not going to serve me. And some things that might not serve you now might serve you in 6 months to a year. But this is an exercise to do today, to do now. What is not serving me right now, and what's going to hold me back from achieving my goals? So that was a big, big, big one. And also, I've realized with this one, like saying yes to everything, sometimes, almost a lot of times, it is a way of self-sabotaging yourself and your own success in your life, in whatever area of your life, because you just feel like you in a way, your subconscious was like, it doesn't deserve to get to the end goal. And when we do this, we also have the tendency to then prove ourselves, prove that we're worthy of that by saying yes to everyone, but then forgetting or abandoning your mission. And this year is for you. And this year, I want you to get rid of, like, I've been hearing this everywhere, and it honestly pisses me off a little bit, because I want you to get rid of fake it till you make it. You don't have to fake anything till you make it. Like, if anything, just embody it and own where you're at. Be authentically you. And for me, like, I just want to change that. You don't need to fake it till you make it. You need to just embody where you're going and own the process and own where you're at. And if where you're at, it's not glamorous. If where you're at, it's not like, oh, I'm really successful, have the man of my dreams, and making 6 figures and traveling the world. So what? It's your dream life. It's a life designed like in your own terms. My dream life will look so much different than your dream life, than any other's dream life. Like, that doesn't have to be like, oh, make 7 figures, go travel the world and get your dream man, get your dream husband. Like, it's your dream life. Like, how does it look like? What are the core values that you're embodying? And embody where you're at, because I feel like that's a lesson in itself. Like, for me, I've not owning and embodying where I was at, because there were so many times that I was so embarrassed. And I remember this one time I've made the most money I've ever made in a month. Like, in a month, I made more than what I used to do in a year. And I then started traveling, and the money and the travel and the lifestyle, that's good. But it is a way of kind of not facing where you're at and not facing, okay, is this what I'm doing aligned with where I see myself going? Is it aligned with my values? Is it aligned with how I want to live my life? Because no amount of money can buy who you are and what you want deep inside. So always, never, I want you to really get rid of fake it till you make it. No, like, embody it, own it, own it, own where you're at, own, even if it's not a good place, own the process, enjoy the journey, because this is a big, big, big thing. Another lesson that I would give you is, if you want to achieve your dream life this year, you better start enjoying where you're at, and you better start enjoying the process. Because it's not about getting there. It's about enjoying the process. It's about creating And when I say creating and achieving your dream life, it's not just like the end result, it's also like, how are you creating a space, a safe space within you that will allow you to achieve the dream life that you want? How are you creating habits that will help you embody the person that will achieve the dream life? How are your actions aligning with the dream life that you want to achieve? All of these things, it is hard work. It is hard work. Like I sat down, I spent New Year's Eve and New Year's Day just writing down what I wanted, writing down my vision for this year, and also being freaking honest with myself, which takes me to our other lesson. Be completely and drastically honest to yourself and truth to yourself. I've made this table, which I made the vision board and then I made the goals, but I then went deeper and like, okay, what are bad habits that I have right now that I need to break in order to get me to achieve my dream life? And I just listed out all the bad habits that I had and what was the limiting belief. So what was the habit that was fueling that limiting belief? Because something I realized about myself is like, I do have limiting beliefs. Of course, everyone does, but it's not about getting just to work on the limiting belief. It's like there's a habit in you, a bad habit that's fueling daily this limiting belief. And this limiting belief is only growing and growing and growing and growing. So for me, I realized like, okay, I struggle with consistency. I struggle with setting boundaries. What are some habits that I have that are not serving the greater good, that are just feeling even more the limiting beliefs that I have about myself? So I just did literally a spreadsheet, a table on the belief, the bad habit, the belief, the action, and the outcome. And honestly, that's been game changer, because I want you to have compassion for yourself and I want you to have grace, but I do really, really want you to just sit down and do a critical analysis on yourself, on the habits that you have, on the actions that you're taking, on the limiting beliefs that you also have in a more subconscious level, and just break the mold that you were kind of like creating, the mold that was created when you were like a child. You need to break that, because that's the only way you will work towards achieving your dream life, and you will achieve your dream life. I'm here. I'm a testimony of that. But you need to break. It's like Joe Dispenza's book. You need to break the old habit of being yourself. I think that was what the name of the book. You need to break that, because even if you write down your goals, and I want you to do this exercise. I just do not only want you to write down your goals. I want you to write down the habits, the bad habits you have, and the habits that need to happen for you to get to that goal. Because reality is, we can all make vision boards, we can all write our goals down, but if we're just not looking inside of ourselves and what's holding us back from actually achieving the goals that we have, nothing's gonna happen. Like, I can just sit down here for hours giving you all the tools and giving you like all the motivational speeches that you need to hear. But the reality is that if you just don't sit down and you actually know, okay, what are my values? What does my dream life look like? How do I want to design that? What are some habits that I have that are fueling my limiting beliefs, that aren't letting me take action, aligned action towards my dream life? Because even with goal setting, I've been doing goal setting for 7-8 years, and I've never literally ticked all of my goals, because I was doing it not in a way that was aligned with who I was. I didn't know who I was to start off with. And then I was just not even looking at, okay, what are the habits I have? So that is something that's really, really, really important. Because it's literally what's going to take you there. Another thing that I also want to say that will literally change your life is Do not let your circumstances define you. You are not the circumstance, but you are how you react to a circumstance. Because this is something that it's so, so important. And honestly, this really changed my life. And I've learned that through my walk with God and through being in such a dark place. My circumstances, like I had no money, like literally no money. I was going from friend's place to friend's place to friend's place. And if some of you guys live in London, you know how difficult it is to make it in London. It's a very expensive city. And if you come here with no money, like, what are you doing? Literally. So by the grace of God, I was like, two of my friends hosted me for like 2 months. And obviously I had a lot of skills. I've built a 6-figure business before, but I kind of feel like I forgot everything that I've had to offer, everything that I was, just because of the circumstance. And I let for some time that circumstance define me and define who I was. And then as I was reading the Bible, I was seeing like, okay, so first of all, God gives the most qualified tasks to most unqualified people. And he is not judging if they're qualified or not by their circumstance, but what they can achieve and their abilities to actually walk the path that God has put them on and achieve that. And when I read that, and in particular, I was reading Job as I was going through it, and it kind of felt like I was going through it and I was reading Job, and I was like, whoa, this is really like what I'm going through. When I left my relationship, I was like, whoa, I thought I succeeded. I found the love of my life. I found the one. And now the relationship is no longer. And I was letting that circumstance define me. I was letting the pain define me. And it is a very dangerous thing to do, because it's going to blur your vision for the future. It's going to blur like all the skills that you have, everything that you've achieved. So this is something I want you to really keep in mind. And another point that I also want to make, another way for you to achieve your dream life this year, is to do a wins journal. Please do this. Do a wins journal, because I'm going to take a sip, because this has been a very intense episode. So I want you to do a wins journal. Why? Because when we are go mode all the time, we just lose sight of all the wins that we are stacking. And it's like when you're going to gym, you have a workout, and then you have a meal plan, and then you track your calories, and then you just, I don't know if you weigh yourself or not, but like usually that's how it goes when you're like trying to grow muscle, and like, okay, like we've gained 1 kilo, we've done this much reps, we're getting the weight up. The same with your wins. But when you don't track them, those wins go unseen sometimes, a lot of the times. And then what you're left with is like, oh, I could have done more. I should be further along by now. But because you're just not tracking the wins that you're having every day, every week, and those are little milestones that will get you to achieve your dream life, then you just completely lose sight of the good things, which is what I was saying to you before. You just keep missing on the good things in life, because you're just not, where your focus goes, your energy grows, right? So just keep a wins journal with you and keep stacking the small wins, because the small wins are the wins that are going to take you to achieve your dream life. And that also is very, very important where you're trying to rewire your brain and your limiting beliefs, because if you keep track of a wins journal, you'll see, oh, I've been consistent with the gym. I've been waking up every day at the same time. I've been putting content out there. I've been, I don't know, whatever that is. I've been going to therapy. I've been doing my daily affirmations, meditations. I've been reading the Bible every day. I've been praying, whatever it is that you do. then you'll see like, oh, so I'm actually being consistent. I'm actually doing the things that will get me closer to that. And what that does is it builds self-respect because you are doing the things that you said you were going to do. It lowers the chance of self-sabotage because you are increasing the consistency. And the more consistent you are, the less sabotage you have. So that bridge is bigger. So the chance for self-sabotage to come into your life is lower and lower and lower the more consistent you are. And you increase your self-worth and your confidence. That's how you do it. That's how you achieve your dream life. That's how you achieve the goals that you set out to achieve. But life's so precious. Don't lose sight of the good things. There are amazing things, like just the fact that you just woke up today, that you're breathing, that you are working towards your dream life. That is a big win in itself. So just please make sure that you keep a wins journal with you, because that is a game changer. I honestly, that changed my life, like in a way I cannot even explain. And the last one, I think we've done 6. Okay, yeah, there we go. The last one is take risks. Take risk, start a business, pursue a career life, put yourself out there, start the podcast, take risk, because the more risks you take, even if not all risks end up going to be the greatest thing, but you will increase your risk aversion. You will have more aversion for taking risk in your life. You will have less self-doubt and less self-sabotage because you're just going and getting it and going after it. And you will have so much respect for yourself because, again, as I said in a previous episode, only 6% of people achieve their goals. Only 6% of people achieve their dream life. And that is not okay. Okay. That's also why I'm doing this podcast, because it took me a long time to get to a place where I'm daily doing the things and the actions are going to take me to a place where I have everything that I want. And you can have everything that you want. Okay. People say you cannot have it all. I don't believe that. You can have it all, but sometimes will not happen at the same time, but you can truly have it all. But yeah, take risks. Like when I came to London with nothing, I had, I think, £5,000, and I think I spent £3,000 because I had to pay rent upfront. I had no business skills. My English was not that great. So I was like, okay, like, who am I to just move to London, start a business, like live all by myself? Okay, guys, I'm not kidding you. I couldn't even crack an egg. Like literally, I didn't even know how to do like a fried egg. I almost put the oven on fire. So there are a lot of things like I didn't know life. I didn't know life. So, but I still took the risk. And a lot of people back home and a lot of people are just saying to me like, but Jenna, you need a job. What are you going to do for work? It's like, well, this is my work. This is my job. Like, do not let people tell you can just not do something because they're just projecting their own inabilities to achieve their dreams onto you. When I started this podcast, my parents and close people to me were like, especially from my hometown, which I just don't have much context anymore because I'm just protecting my energy and I've just literally outgrown a lot of that. But my family was like, oh, but is it making you money? Like, are you just going to do the podcast for a living? And I'm like, no, it's not going to make me money at the very beginning. But so what? I do not do everything for money. And especially after running a business that was just literally like draining my soul, I was like, I do want to help people. And I just, whatever it takes. Obviously, yes, the goal is to turn this into like my career. This is my passion. But helping people, helping you guys is my passion, because I've been through so many dips in my life, which everyone goes through, but like I've been through so many challenges and dark moments that I just don't want. I wish I had this when I was going through everything that I was going through. I wish I had someone saying to me that it truly gets better, but not that it gets better. We're just not here to just go through life and survive. We're here to thrive. We're here to be our best healed versions of ourselves. And we're here to just make things happen and literally build and achieve our dream lives. That's what we're here to do. God, the universe, didn't put you in this world. Like, guys, do you know, even like being born is a freaking miracle in itself. Like, come on. The universe, God didn't put you in this world for you to just go by and just not thrive. He put you into this world to just be the freaking best version of yourself. Whatever it takes, however many homelessness days it takes, however many heartbreaks it takes, whatever it takes, even if it takes bankruptcy, you will just get yourself back up because you can do it. And you know, if you know who you are at your core, you will achieve anything in life. And I feel like that's what I want to leave you with in this episode. You can do anything that you set your mind to. You really can. And you will have to take risks in life. Like nothing. When I started recording this podcast, I was borrowing money from my ex-partner back then. And I was just like, okay, how are we going to do this? And it's worth it because the risk is worth it. So if there's something I can leave you with is take risk. Know that you can achieve whatever you set your mind to achieve. And your dream life it really is possible. Like I'm a testimony of it. This is my dream career. You can achieve anything that you want in your life, but it will take a lot of work and it will take a lot of you breaking yourself down, building yourself back up, and believing that you can do it and you deserve the best of the best for your life. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We're just going to start 2025 with a bang. We're going to achieve all of our goals this year. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know in the comments below. If you want more of solo episodes, let me know what topics you would like me to talk about. And I will see you on the next episode. Hi guys, it's your host here, Jenny Core. If you made it this far, I hope that this episode has helped you heal, grow, expand in some way. It would mean the world if you can subscribe, like, and comment because it's gonna help the podcast grow massively. Your support means the world to me and to my team. And we're just gonna bring you better content, bigger guests. So please just support the podcast if you can. And if you think this is gonna help someone, please share it with them. I'll see you next Thursday.